Alright, welcome in everybody. We have another day of Auric League matches today. Our first match of the day is going to be Catalyst versus Rapture. We do see Catalyst starting off on the Nurse Killer on Cold Tower 1, a classic set in the PvD competitive scene. We'll see how well Catalyst Killer is going to be able to get an early start here. Going to be looking at a bit of an odd corrupt spawn. It looks like they kind of got some of the middle gens corrupted, so that makes it a bit tricky to find survivors early as we have these right side generators blocked with corrupt. Not sure exactly where the survivors spawn. It looks like we've located two of them now. We are going to be taking chase here near the main building. You see a survivor drop down. That is going to be the Claudette. Not going to land the first hit, kind of just going to take that first blank. Claudette going to be playing the edge map relatively well, but does get the first hit landed right there. It looks like I have no chase audio, so that's a fun bug. But the Claudette is going to go down here in the one corner, ending the corrupt intervention. We do see the undetectable add-on from Nurse as well, kind of making it a bit tricky to track the killer once they do land the first hit. We're going to be carrying the survivor back towards this top mid hook so that the Nurse is going to be able to pressure this hook as well as any gens in this area all at the same time. Dwight tried to go for a cheeky double back there, but is going to still end up getting hit. And if he's not careful, we're going to have two survivors down in the same area right here near the hook as well, and one of the gens with progress. This could be big trouble for Team Rapture. Nurse is going to go ahead and slug that survivor and keep the pressure up on this Ace, but does not want to give this undercut up for free, as Ace is going to go ahead and make it all the way back towards the bottom side of the map near Shack without taking any injury. Dwight is also under a pallet, so Nurse has to be careful to pick up the survivor if they do decide to do that, rather than just leave them slugged for now. Knowing that there's only two survivors that can be working gens, we also have Ruin active, so that generator is going to be regressing the entire time someone is not working on it. We do see the pickup come through from Dwight. That was likely the Ada. I think Ace was maybe a little too far unless he rotated really, really efficiently. But now we are going to just kind of confirm this hook, I think. Oh, Ada's trying to sneak in for the unhook. Misses the swing. Very good dodge from the Ada. The unhook's going to come through for just one health state. We're not even forcing a trade here. We'll see the Nurse probably going to go after the Claudette as well, trying to get this death as early as possible. A pretty good recovery, I have to say, from the survivor team so far, but it is an S tier killer after all. We'll see how long these chases are going to last. Usually not too terribly long. Claudette is going to go down and be on her second hook now, but this death spot is a bit better for the survivors. Nurse is going to try to carry back over to this top mid hook. Are we going to make it to this hook? I think we barely are going to make it. Yep, and right back here in the middle of the map where Nurse has the perfect map control. We do see the scratch marks. It is Dwight over here. Looks like he's been fully reset, so not an injured survivor, but looks like maybe some scratch marks over at 11 as well. Over on the edge map, that could have been the person who reset the Dwight. You see the first gen popping. That was the Ada after all. That's going to be a bottom side gen over near Shack being done. The Nurse able to hold the injured Ada here, as well as having line of sight of the hook. This hook just being so in the open is a really, really tough place for the survivors to try to get anywhere near for the unhook. Also defending this Ruin totem as well. Ada is going to go down, trying to get in there and get that totem done. That did force the killer to leave the hook for long enough for the unhook to come through for free. But now we have another survivor slugged, and we are going to be focusing chase back on the Claudette. Claudette going to do her best to draw the killer back to the bottom side of the map, away from these generators that they need to work on. But borrowed time is going to be over, and Claudette is going to be down and out of this match at 4 gens. Very good pressure kept up from the Nurse here. Ada gets picked up. We see somebody was working this middle gen. This middle gen right next to the Cold Tower building is in a really tough spot for the survivors to try to get it done. If the Nurse is anywhere near top side of the map, that hit was really, really nice. We do finally see Ruin getting cleansed. Ace taking chase here near Shack. It looks like the corner deck has worked. He was able to dodge right when the Nurse blinked around the Shack building. And he is going to just be using the edge map to waste as much time as possible. knowing that you're not going to be able to hold a 5-gen chase against the nurse. You do go down here at 7, but this is a much better death spot, and nurse knows that hooking here isn't the most advantageous. Already having one survivor out of the game, going to try to keep up the pressure. We know a survivor had just cleansed this totem over here in 11, and there is the Ada. Probably was working the Shin that whole time after the totem got cleansed, as we hear the progress on it. Nurse going for a very aggressive play here. Gonna see if we can get another survivor down. We see scratch marks on the edge map. That is Ada still. She is still injured. And Dwight is gonna have to go. Ooh, tries to fake the blink out and get through the window in time, but that is going to be Ada back slugged. Dwight did get the pickup on the ace, so not terrible yet, but all this time that they have one survivor in chase and one slug, they're not able to get any progress on the generators. The survivors really need to split up here to ensure the killer isn't able to completely snowball their team into a really tough result, but nearly anything is possible with the nurse killer. We're gonna go ahead and kick this top mid gen. This top side gen setup is gonna be pretty tough, I think, for the survivors to break against the nurse. At this point, being down a survivor, you just need to get as many gens done as you possibly can, even if that means going down and working all the gens on the bottom side. There is going to be another down on the Ada. We're going to go ahead and hook this time, deciding that these survivors are playing carefully enough that they're not going to allow themselves to be just completely slugged, all three at the same time. We do also, I believe, have Unbreakable allowed against the nurse, so one survivor would be able to pick themselves up if it wasn't on the Claudette, who's already out of the game. We do see a second gen pop over here at 5, so very nice. That's not too surprising. We see the survivors going ahead and just getting any gens done that they can at this point in the 3v1. Nurse has wandered quite far away from her hook, but knowing that one survivor was on that gen, there can only be one possibly coming from the other. But we don't know where that survivor is at this point. I think we just spotted the Dwight rounding the corner right there. Dwight is going to be taking chase back towards the bottom side of the map to try to avoid. Oh, nearly jukes the hit in the locker, but is going to get hit at the last second and is going to go down for that. Looks like Ada, possibly the Deliverance player as well. See them broken after the unhook comes through. Meaning the nurse has no real information on where Ace could be at this point. Checking on these gens as well, going for a bit of a slug here. The only survivor that's actually been hooked that is still in the game is this Ada, who's been hooked one time. And she's going to be just taking as much time as possible here in the edge map. Very good double back to not get hit from that blink, but the blinks are going to be right back. This nurse is playing things very, very methodically. Getting these downs, and now this hook is going to be back on the top side. Kind of near the generator, so it'll be tough to get too much gen progress while the killer is near the hook. We see the Ada get put back on the hook right as the Deliverance broken symbol does run out. This is a very scary nurse to be facing in a situation where you only have 3 teammates. Ending lots of chases very quickly here and not letting anybody get too crazy with their jukes. I hear some progress over at 3. I don't think there had been any progress on there earlier in the match, so likely trying to split pressure here on each side of the map. I see some scratch marks there as well. The nurse just holding her blink, able to go to that gen or back to the hook at a moment's notice. Decides to go ahead and blink back towards the hook. We know we saw the Dwight somewhere over here on this side of the map. The 2 survivors are quite split up, trying to get the killer to force her to go one way or the other. Sorry, my mistake. That's actually the Ace over here on this side of the map. He's going to go ahead and trade with the Ada before she is able to completely go next on the hook. And now we're going to be just employing the same strategy that Claudette saw. Immediately chasing her off the hook. She is going to go down. And now 2 survivors on the ground. We know Dwight was working the shit on the other side of the map. This could easily snowball into a 4K3 if the survivors are not careful. This generator was so close to finishing though, over 75%. I think we accidentally canceled our kick there. Now eruption being reapplied. Even if the survivors do pick up and get downed again, it will be blown up one more time. We'll see, are we going to hook here? Or are we just going to look for the Dwight? Oh, I think we see scratch marks here in the same tile. There's Ada's Unbreakable coming through. The Deliverance player oftentimes has that Unbreakable as well. Decides to go ahead and use it, so maybe Dwight can get enough time to finish this generator at 3. He's gonna miss a swing! That generator is over 75%, meaning they have likely less than 20 seconds to get this down with Eruption before that generator is complete. It is gonna come through just in time. It looks like Dwight got off the gen to go pick up the ace. Trading away gen pressure for getting their teammate back up off the ground since he did not have the Unbreakable. That's going to be the 3rd and final hook for Ada. We have 2 survivors left, neither of which have been hooked. Looks like they're playing for this gen pop to try to get this down to a 4K2. They are going to get the gen pop. The firecracker comes through just a little bit too late. Bit of a cheeky generator there, but that is going to get a 3rd generator done for this team. They are going to go ahead and go down for it, but they decided it was worth getting things down at least to a 4K2 at the worst case scenario. That flashlight or firecracker save would have been insane in that situation. I don't know if they could have gotten another gen done for it, but it would have been cheeky anyway. Alright, very well played from Catalyst. We are going to go to a short intermission, and we will come back with a Rapture on the Nurse to see if they can match this pretty strong result. Okay, I clicked on the wrong scene, but we are now back on the second match of this nurse set. We now have Rapture on the killer trying to match the 4K2 from our previous team's result. We'll see if Flix is able to get as much early pressure here. We do see a bit of a better corrupt spawn than we saw in the last match, although one of the corrupted gens is kind of split as well. So both nurses kind of spawning oddly in the middle of Coal Tower here. We're going to go for a prediction blink through the wall. Meg is going to double back with really, really good timing there and is going to avoid the first tag coming through super early. They are going to blink back on the Meg, nearly getting a hit, but is going to miss on that lunge and going to fatigue one more time. Meg's going to go ahead and run all the way back down to bottom side gens while the survivors try to... Looks like they were trying to double this middle gen and break the 3 gen up as much as they could early on in this match. Hanato going to be taking chase towards main building here and dropping this pallet to make the nurse waste as much time as possible going around. But the nurse is going to blink straight through that and get the first hit right here in 12. Hanato's going to waste as much time as possible here on the edge map in 12, trying to break line of sight with these trees. Very good dodge coming through. But we are now down in the top corner, as they say, and that is going to be the end of this chase. We still have 5 gens remaining. We know there was at least 2 survivors working on that mid-gen, but I don't think it's going to pop before this hook comes through and the nurse is able to get back into the middle map. Now, this hook being in the corner as the survivor did go down way on the edge of the map here is not quite as visible as the top mid-hook would have been. So we'll see how aggressively the nurse wants to play to defend these generators. Like I said, they're trying to match a 4K2 result, so they are going to have to be a bit risky here and hope they can find survivors before too many gens pop. Not able to just completely camp this hook out. Not finding any survivors here in the mid-map. We do see a few scratch marks over here at 10, but this survivor has seemingly disappeared back into the tile at 9. Nurse not wanting to go for any too crazy prediction blinks, maybe thinking somebody is rotating for the save. We are still at 5 gens. Survivors need to be working those bottom side gens as much as possible. The nurse is not fully committed to checking anything on the bottom side. Holding a blink here in the middle map, making sure nobody's able to rotate for the save. Ace trying to sneak up through 11. The unhook does come through. The nurse is going to try to get line of sight before they send a blink here over into 2. Right onto the Hanatu. Not going for the swing there, as I think they were just a little bit too far away. The double back did fool the nurse just a little bit. And now he's going to be taking chase anywhere he can go to extend this chase. Very nice use of the rock there. And the tree as well to avoid getting hit and going down, extending his chase even longer for the tunnel out. The box, that might have been a bit of auto aim there as well. Unfortunate timing for the nurse as Hanatu is doing God's work looping around the edge map of Coal Tower. Doubling back around this tile, but that is going to be a really nice blink from the nurse. We are going to get our second down here. We see a second generator popping as well. Looks like that was something on the top left, around 10 or 11 gen. And now I wouldn't be surprised if nurse is going to go for this top mid hook. Maybe worried they're not going to quite be able to make it. It was a bit of a stretch. If any survivor was there to take a hit, I think he would have wiggled off. Going to go ahead and confirm this second hook in 2. And apply eruption to this gen as well. The unhook coming through really, really quickly. Not going to let nurse camp this out for any longer. Going to go ahead and take the tag on the ace for the unhook and then continue chase on the tunnel out here. Chase is going to go bottom side here as survivors likely trying to pressure these top side gens. That is going to be a relatively quick chase. Very nice blinks from the nurse on that chase. And we are going to go straight into the 3v1. These nurse speeds go at lightning pace. We do hear some screams in the distance. Survivors' auras being... I think we saw some auras there from the lingering effect of eruption, whoever was working on this gen. That is going to be a tag on the Meg. We know Ace was somewhere in the area as well. Meg going to just opt to go to the edge map here to try to avoid running into any active generators and make this hook take as long as possible. But the nurse is going to not waste any time hooking the survivor and just go straight after the survivors who are still standing. We do see scratch marks from... I'm not sure if that was 1 or 2 survivors. Definitely the ace caught here at 10. Gonna have to double back to the bottom side of the map. Sounds like there's a lot of progress on this gen as well. Nurse is worried somebody was trying to stick this gen. They only need one more gen to pop to get down to the tie condition. Meg is going to get picked up there, as Ace is taking his distance away from Nurse back to the top side. We know there's a lot of progress over at 2 and as well at the 9 generator, so good split on the gens for the survivors. They're going to be getting pressure in here. I think we're going to see at least one more gen pop if the survivors don't massively get mind gamed and down by the Nurse here. There are 2 of them injured though, so anything could still happen. They are pre-leaving. Looks like Meg is using a med kit down in like 3, right next to that hill. Nurse is not sure if she's able to actually leave this gen, possibly self-care I suppose as well. Nia doubling back right around the corner is able to dodge the hit from the Nurse. All 3 survivors are injured. Eruption applied to 2 gens with high progress. Ace likely working that gen over at 9. It is going to pop before this Nia is able to get downed, and Eruption applied to the gen. So that is going to be tie condition for Rapture. Nurse is going to try their very best to go ahead and get the last 2 survivors down before they can finish another generator. We spot somebody here in the edge map on the bottom next to Shaq. It is going to be the Ace. He's using the edge map rocks very, very well. Nurse is going to go ahead and zone them back away from the slug. As we see Face the Darkness proccing on Meg there to see the survivor rotating for the save, for the picking up the slug survivor. We're just holding the survivors off from working on anything or resetting at this point, keeping them separated and away from the slug all at the same time. Meg going all the way to the edge map, forcing the Nurse to come all the way to the far edge of the map if she wants to go for another down. A nice attempt at a blind from a firecracker, but not going to go through as the Nurse looked up to avoid and then does get the down on Meg. Looking up and down with Nurse does affect blink distance as well, so very well played from them to avoid the blind and still land that hit. Looks like Neo was able to get completely reset from Meg going down there, and Ace as well. Looks like they were resetting down here near 5. And likely splitting up again, so the Nurse is not able to snowball into a 3-man slug. We're going to have to see some nice chases here. We do see Shaq Pallet go down. Not going to do too much to slow the Nurse down, but if she wants to wait for her recharges, she will not have to break that. Meg gets picked up as well. The survivors are doing a good job of recovering their health states here. They're not getting a lot of gen progress, but they're playing this very smart and not allowing the Nurse to snowball them any earlier than she possibly can. Goes for a prediction blink there. The survivors were good to keep their distance around the main building of Full Tower. Looks like survivor, the one injured survivor is going to be using the hill here in 11 to make some distance. It looked like a balanced landing. Is eventually going to go down here in the corner again, but the other 2 survivors both being healthy. Looking for whoever was resetting the Meg here, but not able to locate the other survivors. At this point, the survivors can split pressure all the way at the bottom side of the map, as well as something up on top. There's still a bit of a 3-gen up here around the main building, but if the survivors can finish the generator over near 6 o'clock, they should be able to take the win for Catalyst. We're going to go ahead and leave the Meg slugged up at 11. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on the Shaq gen. The survivors knowing that they can split pressure between top and bottom side of the map. They are going to have a lot of gen progress here. The Nurse is going to have to play really efficiently if they want to ensure win for their team. We see the crow landing there, telling us that somebody has been here, but it has been a little while. They have stealthed off somewhere. Nurse desperately trying to find the survivor that was working on Shaq gen is unable to land a blink there. We know there's a lot of progress on 1 o'clock gen as well. It was regressing last time we saw it, but it would not take more than 5 seconds for the survivors to get back on that generator. We do see the scratch marks back towards the 1 o'clock gen. That's exactly where they're headed. Not too much progress on this gen. Shaq definitely has more progress than this 1 o'clock. It could even call it 2 o'clock then. This tile's not really in the corner. We are going to go back. The Mega's been picked up and fully healed now. And likely the survivor, if they were able to stealth around the shack without completely leaving the area, is going to be back on the Shen. We'll see. Was it regressing? I couldn't quite see if there was sparks coming from that gen or not. Saw a sound notification, but I didn't see if there was actually anything blowing up there. We're going to apply Eruption to this 2 gen again. Looks like we're finding Meg around the edge map. Tries to double back, but Nurse predicts that. Gets a hit there. We do have Eruption applied to the 2 gens that we know have a decent amount of progress. So down here would regress them again. But Shack is going to pop. That is going to be the 4th gen complete. And the Catalyst Survivor team doing a good job of really playing this 3v1 in a safe and methodical way and taking their distance when they need to. Being stealthy when they need to. And they get the 4th gen to pop. That is going to be the set win for Catalyst. Knowing that that gen has finally popped, Nurse decided it was time to go ahead and start getting their hooks in when they can. This 3 gen on top side is going to be really nasty though. The survivors have met their win condition, but they want to play this out and see if they can also break the 3 gen on top side and get the best result possible and try to get all gens done or maybe even outs. But this hook being on top side is really bad for the survivors. They need to lure the Nurse away from the top side of the map and get her to chase someone down near Shack so they can get this unhook and then get gen progress as well. Looks like Nurse is going to fake a blink on the Meg. Right back to the ace and lands it down right here in the middle of the 3 gen. Both gens exploding with Eruption as well. That is going to be a hook on this top mid gen. This 3 gen is really, really nasty with main building, 1 o'clock, and then the top mid gen. You don't even have to be the Nurse killer to hold a 3 gen like this. This is going to be really tough for the survivors. Especially if they keep getting caught in this top side of the map. That's going to be another down on the Meg. Nia was close by for the unhook, so that is good for them. The Blink gets a little bit eaten there by main building, unfortunately. And the survivors are going to be leaving, I think, this area to try to lure the Nurse away. They really want to work on these gens, but these gens are in such close proximity. I think it's going to be really, really difficult to get another gen complete. Meg does get picked up, but Nia spotted, headed back to the Shen at 1. Nurse nearly hits that blink, but goes just a little too far, thinking maybe Nia was going around the outside of that pallet wall. Listening for the footsteps there as well. We're going to be using this rock, saving the 2nd blink. Gonna go ahead and just get our 2 blinks back as fast as possible. Nia doing a good job of getting that vault, but is going to end up getting eventually tagged here. And in the 3v1, it's really, really hard to work a 3 gen while you're injured, and we have all survivors injured here. We do hear the healing near the edge map, I believe. That is going to be the Meg. Nia has been reset again. Nurse not quite able to end their chases as fast as we saw in the last match. So these survivors are able to play things a little bit slower. Oh my goodness, Meg has to be almost healed, trying to get that done, but is not able to quite finish a heal. I think these survivors came with a plan to play this really slow and methodical, and as long as their chases weren't incredibly fast, they knew they'd be able to pop at least 4 gens for their win condition. You see the spikes on the Shen over here at 1 as it has been kicked and erupted a few times. Nia, a bit confused by the Nurse's pathing there, is going to take the M1 hit into the M2 right at the hook. We're going to go ahead and take a hook on the Nia. That will be their first hook, and 4th fresh hook secured. Meg trying to sneak back in as soon as the Nurse went into fatigue, is going to get the unhook. Looks like for free. Oh, and Dead Art comes through as well for endurance. So Meg, in fact, is not going to be going down for that unhook. Nia's stuck with not much to work with near the side of main building, with the door being blocked off and the window is not on this side. Shen has really high progress. Ace has been working this top mid gen this whole time. Looks like it's around 70% done. Nurse is going to be applying Eruption and maybe looking for another down on the injured Meg, knowing she's lurking here to pick up the Nia. Ace going to be pressuring the generator while Meg pressures the pickup on the Slug all at the same time. We're just holding a blink right here in the middle. Right before Ace is able to stop the regression on that gen, going to blink over and get it, but that is going to be the pickup coming through. So now 2 survivors are up again, but they are just stuck in a trap on this top side of the map. Nearly gets that hit, but not able to connect as well. He is going to be running her butt all the way down to the bottom. I think Nurse expected her to hold W through that, but is not going to. That gen is 90% done. Just a few more seconds, and that is going to be it. Now, pulling out of the locker is going to proc Eruption here. That will be an 8% regression again, but Nurse not able to immediately go back for the gen. Is going to drop the Meg for the Slug play and try to interrupt this gen. Nia's going to go down for it. Is Ace going to be able to finish in time? He does! Very impressive to break that 3 gen. I do think that will be the end of the shenanigans from the survivors, but very well played to play for the gen pop there. Get this down to a 4K0. I believe the Unbreakable has already been used as well. Very, very well played from both sides. Like I said, I think the Rapture killer just wasn't able to end chases quite as quick as Catalyst was in that first match. So Catalyst is going to take the win in our first set. Now, I'm not sure if we've seen Deliverance yet. I guess all survivors have been hooked once, so there would be no chance of a deli. That is going to confirm the 4K0. Very well played from both teams. We are going to go to a quick intermission here, and we are going to come back with some Artist gameplay. It'll be Rapture on the killer first, trying to take set 2 against Team Catalyst. Alright, we will welcome everyone back to match number 2 of this set, Rapture versus Catalyst. We see Rapture on the killer now on the Artist. We're going to be playing on Azeroth's resting place. Another race, not another, but an eye-shaped map that is tough for survivors to cross through the middle section of the map. We're going to see the Artist spawned near main building, so survivors should be starting somewhere over here near Shack. We are going to be taking a chase here at Shack. Claudette going to expertly dodge that crow. Is going to take the M1 for it. They did lose a bit of distance, but Shack Pallet are already being thrown. The competitive players do not care. They do not respect the Shack Pallet any more than any other pallet. It is going to be used to make distance. And Claudette is going to use Shack to go all the way around the outside. Is going to get swarmed with crows here, but has not gone down just yet, extending this chase. We see a corruption spawning over on the main side as well. Looks like the Artist may have spawned a little bit closer to the middle than I thought. But still able to find the survivors relatively early. The swing comes through right on the pallet. Claudette able to vault that just in time and is going to extend this chase a little bit longer. They're just going to go ahead and go all the way back to this bottom right corner, using the edge map tiles as well as they can. Anything and everything is fair game in these matches, and Claudette is going to go down there. Looks like they were trying to vault that a little bit too late. And we do see a down coming through before the first gen pops. But the hook not happening before the first gen pops, as we do see a gen somewhere near topside. It looks like one of the survivors at least, if not two, was able to go ahead and cross over towards the top or middle side and pop one of those gens. It looks like they had a pretty tough 4-gen on topside, so good on them to go ahead and get that out of the way for Catalyst so they don't have to worry about a super tight 4-gen on topside. This hook being on bottom side as well, the bottom side 3-gen is not that great, with one of the gens being a little closer to the mid-map than the Artist would probably like here, but they do have their Hex Totem as well on the top side of the map. They're going to be thinking about where they want to send crows here to pressure the top side of the map. Meg is going to drop a pallet, but is going to get hit. Not sure which side the Artist was coming from there. Not going to commit to this chase, though, as we did get a somewhat of an early down. Not the fastest on the chase, but pretty good for Artist. Is going to be content to just hold this bottom side of the map and try to find any survivors working on top side. If you're not hitting any of these crows, the survivors are dodging super early, or they're not pressuring these gens. But I doubt that is the case. I think these survivors are just listening to their audio cues and getting off the gens when they need to. Survivor on the hook also potentially able to communicate when the Artist is setting up crows and let the survivors get off early. Survivor on the hook is going to go to second stage. That is going to be a second hook state on the Claudette. Now the Artist is going to be happy to leave the hook a little bit further to pressure these gens. As we know, there's going to be some gens on the top side getting close to being done. Not extending too far, though. We don't want this unhook to happen for free. It is going to cost you another one of your teammates. So the Meg coming through. Survivors trying to let this Claudette sit on the hook as long as they possibly can. To get as much gen progress squeezed out of these hook states as possible before they try to go for any kind of unhook. There is a second generator getting finished. We do see a double save potentially coming through for the survivors. Ace is going to take the early crow hit, and now Meg not able to get in there and get the unhook for free. Other survivors on the other side of the map. I think this could be problems for the unhook. Some body blocks coming through. Meg is able to sneak by the very last second, gets the unhook on the Claudette. Artist gonna go ahead and take the down on the Meg. Gonna be content to get this hook back on the hill, defending her bottom side for a little bit longer. And now we know the Claudette's gonna be on Deathlook. That is gonna be target number 1 for this Artist player. Knowing she wasn't able to cross back to the top side of the map. Set up some crows and try to steer the Claudette back into them. Oh, very nice dodge from the Claudette, taking the first crow manually and then dodging the second one. Ace is going to come through as he hasn't been hooked yet and try to body block to give Claudette time to make it to the top side of the map at this point. Looks like Megan, the healthy Renato, is here as well. He's going to try to come in and try to extend the chase of the tunnel out. We do see them getting caught up in the middle map a little bit here. This midsection of ARP is one of the strongest areas on the map to loop. Hanato with some very good body blocking, but he can't body block from the other side. The crows were set up in perfect place. Very nice job from the artist to steer the Claudette right where she needed to go to get that down. And that is going to be the first survivor dead. 2 gens remaining. And 4 hooks so far. All 3 survivors are injured as well, so they gotta be a bit careful. The 3 gen is a bit broken on the top side, as we were kind of just playing for the bottom side map control. So we do have to worry about the bottom side 3 gen, but it's not nearly as bad as I think what was on the top when we spawned in. Fortunately for the survivors, they did spawn on the top side and the Krupp was a bit split. They were able to get some early progress on those top gens. They have a tall order still ahead of them. Artist, a very strong anti-loop killer. And with all 3 of them being injured, they're going to need to have some really good chases here if they want to pop the last 2 gens. Looks like Hanatu went for a reset somewhere. We are extending all the way up to this 12 gen to see if there's any progress here. Pre-setting up the bird. Knows that the survivors are going to have to run into that area. Can they time it just right? They knew that Crow was going to be there. You saw them dodge flare out to the left at the last second as they came around the corner as to try to not get downed by that Crow. 3 birds getting sent out, and all 3 of them are going to be missing on the Hanatsu as we take chase onto the Meg over here at 1 o'clock. Oh, and she has W-keyed straight back into the middle of the map, trying to find safety in this area. We do see Ruin finally going down here. Very nice flick upward to avoid getting blinded by that firecracker as well. Meg pathing very well, is going to dodge the crows and still be able to make this edge map pallet. Artist kind of just holding pallet control while they wait for their power to come back. Meg knows that as well and is going to get away from this loop as soon as they know the artist has their power back. That will be a down, but this is a perfect death location for Team Catalyst. Very well played from the survivors. We know there was a survivor all the way down on the bottom side of the map. We see the double reset come through as well, as they did cleanse the ruin down there in the bottom right corner a little bit earlier in the match. So now there's likely some progress here on the shack side of the map, as well as the better of the three of the 4 gens, I think, that the killer might be able to defend, as well as Artist is able to control the whole map. They cannot force survivors off gens from across the map forever. Mech Pallet is still down, is going to be vaulted there from one of the survivors. Trying to time the crows, but it looks like Hanatu slow vaulted back into the shack at that point. Meg is going to be broken. They're coming off of their hook. Deliverance, not Deliverance, that would be... They're healed now. Right, Second Wind, I believe that was. Deliverance obviously banned against Artist, but they were still injured for a second after the broken status. That might just be a spectator thing though. Looked a bit funny to me. Hanatu is going to be taking chase here as Meg did get the reset for free. And now we have 2 survivors we know are on the top side of the map, while Hanatu is just going to stay down here at shack and try to waste time while the survivors potentially could be working main or even doubling to get it done twice as fast. They're going to be running out of any kind of safety on this side of the map. Hanatu is going to go down. We are going to throw him up on the hook as well. This hook is in a bit of a tough spot over here on the bottom side near the 3 gens. We do see that top gen popping. We are down to 1 gen remaining. As well as we see the Rancor information given that these survivors are on the top side, but I think the artist isn't sure that there was 2 survivors there. Maybe there was 1 survivor still here on the bottom side. Like there was potentially only 1 survivor revealed up by the top side of the map. It could be a survivor hiding in a locker, or somebody just stealthing near for this unhook. Either way, the survivor that was on the top side is going to have to rotate down now and start progress on this middle gen. It looks like they've already got a pretty early start. I hear a decent amount of progress on this gen. We see it's well over halfway done. There was a survivor lurking around the bottom side. Is going to get the pull as soon as the artist gets far enough away to actually kick that middle gem. Survivors are going to be dodging crows in the lockers at Shack, so the artist is going to have to keep sending crows back that way if they want to keep harassing them off of the Shack gem. As well as the Severed Hands add-on that will spread the crows if they are too near each other. That is going to be a really nice hit on the Meg as she tries to take chase as far away as possible from these gens. But the artist power already back, able to set up some crows and make this loop very unsafe. Meg tries to dodge wide, but the artist times that really, really well. Is going to get the down on Meg. This is completely out of the 3-gen, but I think this Meg is also on death hook, so that will be down to only 2 survivors left trying to finish these last generators, as it looks like they were able to both sit on that Shack gen and get it done for Meg. Chase dying in the perfect place yet again on the top side of the map. Finds the Hanatu with the crow. He is injured. We know the killer has Rancor as well, so he is exposed and able to be immediately moried in the end game. See the scratch marks of another survivor as well. Both of these doors kind of along the same left side wall here, but one being top and one being bottom is pretty decent for the survivors, able to split up. And I think we're likely going to see at least one survivor get out the doors here. If they're able to split up and each get on one door, the artist cannot possibly get both of them. We saw Ace rotating through the right side of the map. But Ace is going to be a fresh hook as well. So as long as Ace is still alive, Ace is going to be the primary target. And Ace has actually snuck back up to the bottom side of the map. And I think they are both going to be out that bottom left gate. Very well played from the survivors. We will send you to a break before we come back and watch Catalyst on the killer. Alright, and welcome everybody back to the second artist match of this set. We are going to see Catalyst on the killer now. It is going to be FaZe trying to play this Azrael's resting place. We did see the Catalyst Survivor team able to escape only with 7 hook stages in the last match. And after taking that nurse set, the Survivor team now just needs to escape with 6 stages or less to able to secure the win in their match today. If this killer is able to secure 7 hook stages or more, that will ensure the tie or win for the artist set, and we will have to see a tiebreaker on the Dracula. A really nice hit coming through on the ace here in this middle map area. We've found, I think, 3 survivors already at this point in the match. Nia coming in to try to extend this first chase as long as possible, but Ace getting caught out there. Nia's able to body block the swing without even taking a hit. Is going to extend the chase of Ace here back into the middle map. We do see a pallet going down, a crow being placed there. Ace is not going to be able to play this tile, is going to go ahead and just run back towards the top right corner of the map. We hear some serious progress being made on the middle generator there as the crows do decay and the artist is not able to place another one for just a few seconds. Ace doing a good job of holding that W key all the way down to the other side of the map. Tries to get the stun, but is eventually going to get smacked. That is going to be our first down of the game, and looks like our first hook as well on the ace. Not a bad start for the artist. Looks like these survivors are greeting for this gen. No, they're not actually. They did go for the locker play. It was lined up so well with the generator, I wasn't sure if they were working on it to try to get the gen pop in the killer's face or if they were moving away. See what kind of generator setup the killer does have here. It looks like a pretty evenly spread generators, although this mid-gen is a little closer to the top. But as soon as I say that, we have a topside generator getting finished. Well, now this topside 3-gen not nearly as lucrative to go ahead and protect as the artist might like. Harassing the survivors off the gen on the far side of the map. They're not able to sit on these gens if they do want to maintain their health status. But Artist is going to be pretty content with the speed of their first chase to go ahead and camp this out at least to a second phase. And I would assume as soon as this ace does get unhooked, if he gets unhooked, that he will be removed from the match as soon as the artist can possibly manage. Ada sticking this generator as long as she possibly can with Ruin active, forcing the artist to come all the way out to this generator to actually stop the progress being made on that gen. And that is going to create a window for the ace to get unhooked and for the people actually coming through as well. So the Alan Wake going to take that health state for his teammate. He says, you know what, you're on death hook. I will take the heat from the killer to keep you in this match as long as possible. A really nice play with just enough time to get that health state back. Those crows narrowly missing the Alan Wake, so his chase is going to be extended as well, making it back into this one tile and the pallet immediately being dropped. Artist trying some mind games here. Are they going to be able to catch up? Nicely connecting the window to this loop as well. And that is going to be the down coming through as the Alan tries to get to the check spot at the end of that long wall, but unfortunately for Alan Wake, he is going to meet a crow at the end of the wall. That'll be the first hook on Alan, third hook for the artist player. Like I said, this artist needs to secure at least 7 hooks if they want to force a tiebreaker match. Catalyst Survivor is going to be doing all they can to get these generators done before the artist can get that many hooks together. It looks like we see at least 2 survivors working on the Shack gen, as well as Severed Hand's going to be infecting both the injured survivors. So we likely have the Ace. Yeah, Ace is going to be playing carefully here near the edge map, but is going to get spotted. In fact, now we have all 3 injured survivors and the hook survivor on the far side of the map, but that is going to be the 4th generator done. These survivors have had really, really nice gen pressure for the early stages of this match. Now, I'm not sure these survivors are going to be able to get in for the unhook. while they are injured, it's going to be really difficult to stealth back up to the top side of the map. However, we do have one generator still on the bottom side. It's going to be tough for the artist to defend. Ada's going to be coming down towards the top side of the map, forcing the artist to retreat from that generator. Now the survivors should be pressuring that bottom right generator that's on the far side of the map from this hook, forcing the artist into this kind of lose-lose situation where they either lose this hook or they lose the generator. We do see the second stage coming through as Ada is going to be going back to the bottom side of the map. Expertly dodging where the crows are being placed there is going to vault this window. I think that's going to be a down on the Ada. This match is far from over. We have lots of pressure built up from the killer at this point. 2 injured survivors and 2 hooked survivors. We do see this gen regressing. Ruin is actually still active. There is the unhook into the Alan Wake. And 2 survivors going to be hit there as well. The artist happy with that information. Is going to be headed back to the top side of the map, but we need to get a survivor out of this match as soon as possible. It could be the Ace or the Alan, either one. Both of them are in fact on Deathhook. We do see Second Wind coming through and healing the Alan, so he's going to be a bit of a tougher target to try to chase down and get 2 health states from. The Ada was hooked once. We are up to 5 hook states. Artist needs to secure at least 2 more if they do want to force a tiebreaker. There is one of the hexes gone, as we are going to take chase onto Ada, and Ada does have 2 hook stages left. Ada going to go ahead and drop that pallet as well, avoiding the crows and looping around this truck, but this pallet does not exist, and Ada is going to go down there. Now the survivors are likely pressuring the top right generator. I assume it's really close to being done. We know there was 2 survivors doubling that gen earlier in the match. The generator over near 1 o'clock should be nearly done at this point. And there it is. The last generator gets complete. It was actually the other generator on top side. It looks like they had split a bit of pressure there. And they are going to get the 4th and final gen done. All 4 survivors still alive, but artist very much still in this, just needs to secure 1 more hook stage to force a tie in this artist set. Looks like they are going to be taking chase onto the Alan Wake here. A very nice use of Lithe at the main building. Alan is going to be taking chase over here near 1. It looks like this gate has not been started yet. The survivors do need to come through and get this unhooked to make sure the artist isn't securing the hook stage for free. There is the unhook coming through. And that is going to be a down on the Alan Wake. That is going to be the 7th hook stage, and if all the survivors do end up getting out that bottom side gate, I think that is going to be a tie, and we will have to go to tiebreaker on the Dark Lord. Artist is looking for any survivors. I think they are scrambling to make it to this gate, and they are all going to escape. We will send you guys to an intermission and come back for the tiebreaker set on Dracula. Alright, welcome back. This is the tiebreaker set between Catalyst and Rapture. We did have a tie on the Artist, so now we are going to go to the Dracula on Wrecker's Yard. We've now seen Dracula played in this balancing on Wrecker's Yard and on Wretched Shop. I will say, I think Wrecker's Yard was definitely the tougher map for Dracula to play. So we'll see what results these killers are able to pull out, as Alan Wake is going to go take a hit from the Hellfire in that narrow alleyway of that tile. And going to go ahead and actually stay in Dracula form for a bit longer, in the vampire form, and try to mind game, but these Azarov's walls you can definitely see over. Especially in vampire form, this killer's quite tall, but is going to get Alan Wake caught out here. Going to try to emote to make it underneath this pallet, just in case one of his teammates is nearby for the pallet save. Trying to delay this first look for as long as possible. Looks like the Atom was somewhat nearby, is going to go ahead and miss the M1 on the pallet there. This Atom does have the flashlight, is definitely their dedicated survivor to try to help extend their chase. The crouch at the car is going to cause that pounce to miss. Very well played from the Atom. Now the Alan is going to be recovering. The other survivors are going to have to give up on their gen progress to go and pick up the Alan at this point. We do see the pickup come through. Adam wants to go ahead and get that pallet down and try to make this loop as safe as possible. Good zoning by the Dracula to break that pallet from the inside of the map and not let Adam get anywhere for free. He's doing his best to get distance back into this free tile, but is going to go down before he's able to. The zoning and break from the Dracula there is going to go ahead and secure this first down, but you know what? The survivors were actually able to extend that first hook until after the first gen pop, so Alan is back to full health, so no harm there. And this is actually a pretty decent death spot, I think, for the survivors as well, as these 3 and 9 pockets are really common areas for survivors to want to take chase as far away from the middle of the map as possible and extend the killer's pull away from the generators so that they have to go all the way to the edge map here to try to get hooks and defend these hooks while they work gens on the other side of the map. Nia is going to be able to secure the unhook there as a near swing and a miss. And then we finally do get the M1 on to Nia. Go ahead and teleport into Shack, blocking the window with the Lapis Lazuli, and then we do see a second generator popping. So at this point, Dracula's looking for any survivor that he can find, trying to get a free tag on. Even better to find this Atom, who's already been hooked once. Trying to outplay this tall rock on the edge map. Hellfire not able to actually go through that rock. Does go for the swing through the pallet and gets the down on Atom. That is going to be a second hook coming through for Adam. Now we did die on the opposite side of the map this time, so again, I think a pretty decent death spot for Adam to try to take chase from one side of the map to the other and flip the generator progress from this side over to the right side of the map. We do see 3 gens over on this side of the map that the survivors are likely trying to think about finishing, as we do find one of the survivors at this 1 o'clock gen. Looks like Dracula's not going to commit to chasing that survivor just yet, as we want to come back and make sure this unhook does not happen for free. Going to do a bit of cleanup on the pallets to make this area a bit nicer. The Shack pallet as well. Going to get that out of the way. I think the survivors have kept up a really, really good pace so far, not allowing any free hits to come through from the Dracula. As we do have 2 gens done and likely a lot of progress being made on the other side of the map. Dracula wants to go ahead and confirm this hook. It is really, really difficult to unhook against the Dracula for free, as he can just use his Hellfire to not only injure the survivor that comes for the unhook, but also immediately put the unhooked survivor into deep wound, negating their borrowed time off the hook. We do see a generator pop on the bottom left side of the map. And we'll see if the survivors are going to go ahead and just let the Atom go ahead and exit the match. That'll be the 3rd and final hook on Atom, as he does get tunneled out. But as the survivors are letting him die on the hook, the killer is just standing there, not pressuring any other areas of the map. And the survivors are getting really good gen progress. We see 1 gen pop, and the other gen over at 3 is almost complete as well. Nice use of the pounce there to get it down on the ace really quickly after that Atom was done being camped. We are going to go ahead and hook over here next to this 3-gen as it was almost complete. Looks like it's about 70% done at that point. There's definitely less than 30 seconds before that gen was going to pop. We do have 2 other healthy survivors, and the gen split is actually relatively good for the survivors. They have this gen at 3 and another gen over near like 10, it looks like. So they can definitely split pressure between these 2 far ends of the map on Wrecker's Yard. Looks like there's a little bit of progress in this gen so far, but nothing too serious. Actually, it's more than that. It's a bit more than I thought it was at first. That gen is actually moving quite a bit. That gen nearly as high as the other gen was on the other side of the map. The unhook does come through. Killer knows if they do not go back to this 3 side of the map, they risk letting these 2 survivors double up on that gen. But even here, we've only found the 1 survivor that was on the hook. We're not sure where the other survivor was that had just gotten the unhook. Likely still splitting pressure between 3 and 10. Ace is going to do his best to extend chase as much as possible. Nia is here, going to try to take a hit for the ace. Unfortunately, that is going to be a Hellfire hit and is not going to slow the killer down too much at all. Very nice use of Lied there for Ace to get distance off of Shack window. It looks like Nia had Adrenaline. What in the Narnia tech? Oh, I think we accidentally checked the wrong locker. That is going to be Ace going up on his second hook as well. I think Nia had the Adrenaline, was able to get healed with the pop of that last gen. We do see this gate on the bottom side of the map being worked. Both survivors are here. It looks like they're going to be content to go ahead and take their 2 out. Very well played from Rapture, I have to say. Impressive result from their survivor team. We will go to an intermission and see if they are able to put up the same result on the killer side. Alright, and we are back on the final match of this Dracula set. We were able to see Catalyst come out with a 2k6 in the first match on the Killer, so we'll see if their survivors are able to put up a similar result here. We have Rapture now playing Killer on Dracula, taking chase early onto the David. This is going to be an early chase over near the 9 o'clock side of the map. Pallets going down like they are nothing here. That pallet not going to be too safe. Pretty easy to mind game. David is going to be just taking a hit here to try to leave this tile and extend his chase for a little bit longer. We saw a lot of altruism coming through from the last Survivor team. That seemed to work out pretty well for them. We'll see if this Survivor team is able to pull off anything similar, or if they're going to just opt to get as much pressure as possible on the generators and let David play his chase. Nicely dodging the Hellfire as Dracula comes around the corner there, but the mind games the bus pallet, and David is going to go down to the M1, fighting ahead and getting our cleanup on that pallet as well. David going to go up on the hook at 12 here. We know 9 o'clock side was corrupted for the majority of that chase, so now we are going to be looking for survivors over on the 3 side of the map. Natsu not going for the window vault there. Actually really well played to dodge the Hellfire. Is going to then come around the other side and get the fast vault. Still not sure if he wants to actually commit to this chase. There's likely a survivor rotating up for the pull. We do notice the scratch marks there at the bus, but it's a little bit too late as the unhook comes through. Looks like that was Meg getting the unhook. Dracula definitely wanting to take his tunnel out as early as possible. Nearly hits the Meg with the Hellfire, but it is going to end up missing. Dracula going to go ahead and just take the free tag on to the Meg and go ahead and play this chase out. Looking up in the dog form to avoid the firecracker blind. Here's Hanatu here at this tile again, is going to get a third survivor injured. And now taking chase down towards the bottom side of the map over near the 5 o'clock gen that was already completed. Dog form is going to use 2 pounces there to get the down on Hanatu. As we see some resets coming through for the David. We have the option of going basement here, but we're going to opt for a hook that is out here in the open, a little bit easier to see from a distance whether survivors are going for the unhook or not. I'm going to go ahead and kick this generator over near 7 and look for other survivors anywhere else around the map. We know David has already been hooked at least once. That would be potentially the best survivor to find here, but it looks like we're going to find the Meg instead and go ahead and take chase over towards 3. Dracula seems content on letting these unhooks go ahead and happen and just trying to collect his fresh hook stages at this point. We're going to get the tag on Meg. Are we going to commit here? It looks like we are going to go into dog form and chase after the Meg. 1 pounce comes through, 2 pounces come through, but not able to connect on either one. Collecting the scent orbs, that does give you a little bit of haste as the Killer is going to look for this down on the Meg. The down is going to come through, and Meg is going to be put up as the 3rd fresh survivor hooked. There's our 3rd fresh hook coming in on Meg. Now the only survivor left who has not been hooked yet is going to be the Ace. We'll see if Dracula decides to try to go for a tunnel out at this point, or if they want to find the Ace. If I'm the Dracula, I'm trying to find somebody to tunnel out. The delays on the transformation not allowing Dracula to immediately swing and go for a hit on Hanatu as he vaults the Shack Pallet back into safety. Shack Pallet going to be broken, so it will not be safe any longer, but we do see a 3rd generator popping. Survivors having really, really good pressure being kept up. The gen's just slowly but surely being popped. David trying to come in to body block for Meg to give her more distance, but not able to actually block. And once the killer is within range of that Hellfire, it's nearly impossible to actually block for the survivor on your team to try to make extra distance. Shag Generator, it's popped as well. So we're down to the final generator, and we see that the strategy of taking these fresh hooks has not allowed the killer to tunnel anyone out early in this match. We're going to be heading into the end game soon with all 4 survivors still, none of them on death hook. Pallet being dropped there. Dracula will go ahead and immediately break that. We see a pretty nice generator spread from the survivors as well, using their map to split up the pressure on different areas and not have the killer able to patrol any type of 3-gen. We do have 3 injured survivors. Dracula going to go ahead and kick this generator as well at 3. This 3-gen, 12-gen, and then something over near like 8. That's about as wide of a spread of 3 generators as you can possibly have on this map. Oh, I think if you immediately sent that, you might have gotten the hit, but it was a risky play. Ends up not sending the Hellfire, and Ace is going to get out of there. He is the only healthy survivor. Dracula is looking to find any survivor that he can down that is injured already. Looks like there's some blood on the ground over at 3. One of the injured survivors as well as the Ace is going to go for the Hellfire, but Ace is just out of range. Going for the blind as well to try to make extra distance. Dracula going to go just into bat form and go back into patrolling generator mode. We are going to see the last gen pop over here at 8. And we are in the end game with all 4 survivors still alive. Looks like Hanatu is the one that finished that generator as well. He is going to be just trying to extend that chase and dive far away from one of the gates so that his survivor team can get the gate open and get out. Looks like the gate on the bottom side of the map has already been opened. Hanatu is going to go down here, but I think that's all the killer is going to be able to do, is to take his final hook, as we do see 2 survivors leave, and finally the Ace. That is going to be a death hook for Hanatu and a total of 5 stages for Rapture. So Catalyst will end up taking the Dracula set. GG's to both teams. We will be back after a short break for our second match of the day.